Hi everyone, this is Lauren Turner. I'm a Senior Manager of Customer Marketing at User Testing, and I am so excited to meet you virtually and present to you on the strategic value of fun, growing your customer engagement using humor and humanity. So before we get into our longer discussion about different ways of bringing fun and humor into your marketing, we're going to go over a couple of quick points about the oncoming customer content crisis. It's only getting worse because of COVID-19. And how do we handle it? We bring in a noise, bring into fun. I'm going to explain a little bit why light content is very effective at promoting customer engagement and loyalty, give some examples of fun content done right, and then we're going to sum up with a couple of takeaways. So let's begin. The customer content crisis. Right now, customers are exposed to a ridiculous amount of content. In fact, it is the #1 investment that marketers are currently making, is investing in their content marketing input. So this means all different kinds of content. We've got our Zoom screen shares, we've got our social media, our blogs, our sales decks, our email campaigns, white papers, recorded conversations that we're posting up for customers, things that we're sending out to our partners in order to speak on our behalf. And customers are pretty much helpless, but just receiving all of this stuff. What makes it even worse for our customers is that most of the content that's being created by our marketing departments isn't even relevant to them. So what I mean by that is that most of our metrics as marketers are based on things like the amount of web traffic that it's brought in and the total sales, which naturally is going to put the focus on the top of the funnel as we bring in new customers to bring in new revenue. So what that means for us who are running these advocacy programs is that we're in this tiny little 11% of budget allocation to post-sale loyalty and brand advocacy. That makes it really difficult for customers because so much of the content that's being created is really meant more in that initial wooing phase that our companies are trying to do in order to get the attention of people who aren't our customers yet. So that's a lot of talking about me. Think of it almost as an analogy to dating. A lot of the content that we're putting out as companies for our prospects are things talking about how great we are, how we're better than the competition. From a relationship standpoint, we could be talking about how we're really smart. We graduated at the top of our class, how we're really good at sports, how neighbors and friends have all of their pets who come to our windows and serenade us like Snow White because they love us so much. This is all trying to get someone's attention. The problem is with our customers, they've already bought into that. If you're doing it right, they already like you. So we don't need to keep going on and on about how great we are because they agree. And after a while, it's going to get really excessive and really annoying. Back to that relationship analogy, this is as if you've already been together for 5 years and you're married and you're sitting at the breakfast table and every morning your spouse is like, hey, did you know that an independent study of everyone on our bowling league said that my shirts are the starchiest? And you're like, wow, that's great. And then the next day, hey, did I tell you that I was the captain of the middle school chess team? And eventually you're just going to tune it out. Well, your customers are basically going to be doing that same thing if you're not focusing on content that's appealing to them. So now that we have all of this content that's being pushed out at our customers, only some of which is actually relevant, how do we capture their customers' attention with all this noise that's going on? We're doing it by bringing in the noise and bringing in the fun. What does that mean? This means bringing in some light content into what we're pushing out to our customers. Why does light content matter? Especially right now when everyone is super busy and we're really trying to get their attention, do we really have the time to spare to give them something that isn't immediately going to turn that key into generating more sales? Yes, and here's why it matters. First of all, humor and light content is the most likely type of post that's going to go viral. For us marketing folks where everything is tied to metrics, this is super, super important. If you think back to the Super Bowl commercials, which at least for me, because I'm not really into sports, is what I'm usually watching the Super Bowl for, think about the commercials that really stuck in your mind the most. Chances are the ones that did were probably the ones that were funny. My favorite one was the Snickers commercial where we had a bunch of guys who were playing rugby, and one of them was really, really angry and turned into mean Betty White until he had his Snickers bar. We basically can do the same thing for customers. If we can present them some material that they can glom onto that really resonates with them, they're going to be more likely to share it. And those are the kind of metrics that we're often going to be measured against. Again, it's engaging. This is really important if you're working with customers, especially on the user side, who tend to skew a little bit more on the introverted side. It might be hard to ask a customer, especially one that's shy or one that's new, to really actively engage with you right off the bat for something that's going to be a high level engagement. So things like asking them to do a case study with you or asking them to join your reference program. For someone who barely even knows you, that's a pretty big ask. But if we're going to have some light content, whereas we're asking them, for example, their favorite ice cream flavor, that's something that even someone who's pretty shy and doesn't feel comfortable giving really good strategic advice, that's something they can probably get on board with. And over time, if they can get more and more comfortable engaging in these low touch, low pressure situations, more likely over time, eventually they'll feel comfortable enough to do the things that we're really looking for them to do. Almost most importantly is that it humanizes your company. Companies are made of people, and these are the interactions that we're having not only with each other as employees within a company, but these interactions that we're having with our customers. You want to be thought of as a person, and especially if we're going to be working with our customers on a one-to-one basis, like a lot of our Influitive-based hubs are, we want to be able to help establish that relationship. And using light content that talks about who you are as people is going to create a much stronger sense of trust and bonding than it's going to be if you're constantly just sending corporate boilerplate lingo all over the place. Finally, right now, we're in the middle of a global pandemic. Things are really heavy right now. You can read just about anything on the newspaper and it's probably bound to make somebody cry. So with all the stuff that's going on, with all the pressure that our customers are facing, with all the pressure that we're facing, it's great to be able to have just a little bit of a light touch with your content that can at least temporarily take away some of this stress. The worst case scenario is that it creates a positive brand experience between your customer and your company, whether they do something on your company's behalf or not. And that can come up down the line later when you're doing your NPS and your customer satisfaction surveys. So again, we're looking at the long haul here and how this type of content is going to affect your customers. So now that we're talking about bringing in some of this more fun content, how much of it should we use? I'm recommending that we use 10 to 15% of your content to have these fun conversations. And again, I'm emphasizing conversations here because we really want our customers to be involved. So for example, birthdays and pets, favorite TV shows. These are things that most people in everyday conversation, whether they're your customers or not, are probably having anyway. So it's pretty easy in order to get them to engage with this. And again, if you're putting them in the sense of a question, or you're giving them an open opportunity to talk about their new cat that they just adopted, or what's going on with their favorite TV show, because let's face it, right now with COVID, we're probably watching a lot more TV than we used to. This gives them an opportunity to really connect with each other as customers and connect with you as human beings. Another thing you might want to ask about are our upcoming holiday plans. It's a great way to compare and contrast different traditions, different fun facts, and also ways for people to kind of glom onto the same activity. Surveys, quizzes, and trivia. Again, these are really great low touch, low pressure ways to get customers to engage. And that's not to say that these surveys, quizzes, and trivia need to be completely unrelated to your company. It's far better if they are. But in addition to quizzes that might be skill building, like for example, a quiz of your top 5 products' most popular features, you can also ask a quiz about certain members of your executive team, like which one of our executive team was a guest on a popular late night television show. Something that brings a little bit more of the personal to your conversation, but still focusing on your company. Pop culture articles relevant to your industry. Again, These are really easy, low pressure ways to get people to engage on conversations that they're probably having anyway. And so if they're newer or a little reticent to talk about your product right off the bat, this is a really great way to kind of warm them up, start building that relationship and building that trust. Customer recognition, that is also a really great way that we can get our customers to engage. One of the things that we do for our community in user testing is at the end of the month, we gather the data on who has leveled up, who's reached a certain point milestone, and if they've mentioned anywhere in our forum that they've hit a personal milestone like a promotion, or a new baby in the family or something like that, we take those kudos and announcements, we repackage them as a challenge within our Influitive Hub, and then we send them out at the beginning of the next month to recognize all of those people who've accomplished something over the previous month. And again, with these responses that we get, even if it's something as trivial as someone's favorite ice cream flavor, this is useful data. If we're sharing this kind of data with a team, sometime in the future when either you or maybe your customer success manager is meeting up with a customer, suppose you're taking out your colleague or your customer to ice cream and you just magically happen to bring their favorite flavor, and it wasn't a guess, it's because they answered that question in a challenge that you posted 6 months ago. It's a great way to surprise and delight your customers in a way that they never were expecting. So one example of a challenge that I really like to give that enables people to open up is a question of, what's your brush with greatness? It's when we're asking our customers to share a fun story about a celebrity that they've met. Most people have met at least one celebrity at some point in their lifetime. It's putting the focus on this celebrity rather than the customer themselves, which makes it a little bit easier for them to open up. And it's always fun to be able to share these stories. And if you have photos, share those photos with other people in your online hub. Again, it's really fun. It's a great no pressure way for your customers to interact with each other. And again, it's something that can help stick in their mind, which is really, really great when you're starting to build your community and you really want to get to know who your power players are. You may not entirely remember which customer off the top is your premium customer or what their contract looks like, but you're probably going to remember that this was the customer who bumped into Bill Gates on the street when he was getting a coffee at Starbucks. And that's going to be a great way that you can help bring back that conversation later on when you're working with that customer. What we do in terms of humanizing our customers is by opening up to them as well. So there are a couple of different ways we can do that. We can do interviews with different employees, give their little profile, have that employee introduce themselves virtually to your customer base, have them talk about their hobbies, have them talk about their family, especially now if we're all talking over Zoom anyway. We've probably at some point seen each other's kids or pets. It's a nice way to actually get that introduction there. A video office tour, if you can get into your office, is a nice way, again, to let people into your life. Sharing your milestones and your funny stories. So the picture that you see on the top, that is my new dog Flash, who I adopted in February. I created a challenge about Flash, introducing him to the customer community and asking for some advice on how to better integrate him with the dog that we already had. Now, I didn't need to ask my customers for this advice. I could just look up Cesar Millan or Google it or find something else, but it's a great way to have this conversation where customers can contribute something in a low pressure, low touch, really fun way, and also share stories about their pets. And then we can all kind of bond together over how we have our furry friends. Hey There Rockstar. This is a way that we can take our big corporate asks and make them a little bit more fun and more approachable. So this was the title that I used for a recruiting challenge to get people to do a success story with us. A typical way that we might ask in corporate speak is, we recognize that you've had fantastic outcomes using our product. We would love to hear it and publicize that. Can you tell us more about the success that you've had? Okay, that's something that we can do, but that's also a little bit daunting. If we use other more fun language like, hey there, Rockstar, you ready to have your glory moment in the spotlight? We know you've been rocking our product and it's time to let the world know. Let's get a case study started so everyone can recognize you for the hero that you are. Cue glitter and thunderous applause. It makes it a little bit more fun, a little bit more approachable, and a little bit more likely that people might take you up on that offer. This has been actually a pretty successful campaign with us over the last year. So I'm going to give now some examples of fun done right. This is one of my favorites. This is from HubSpot, AutoTune The Office. It's a YouTube video, so just give it a second to load.
Okay, everyone, I have an important announcement to make. We finally realized cold calling and direct mail just aren't cost effective. So we've decided to go with HubSpot and inbound marketing. We're going to save a boatload of cash.
So does this mean that we're gonna,
Yep, that's right. We're gonna auto-tune the whole office starting now.
Hey! Hey! This is going to be totally awesome!
Karaoke happy hour tonight. Who wants to carpool?
Wait a minute, Lisa. Did you forget about our company softball game tonight?
I completely forgot.
So I love this video. Why? And why is it effective? It shows employees having fun. Again, we love to be able to let our customers know who we are as people, and this is a really great way that HubSpot showed that their employees are real people. They're having some fun with a popular pop culture thing, AutoTune. It's self-deprecating because everyone sounds terrible when they're doing AutoTune. And it also talks about the product. This video tends to go on for about 5 minutes, but as they go further, not only do we get to see the employees enjoying themselves using this AutoTune, but they are talking about their product in the process of doing that. One of the things that we've done within our own hub, we've had a lot of work with COVID-19. We've done all sorts of industry studies, research reports that we've posted out. We have templates that our customers can use that they can ask their customers about different responses. Very useful, amazing information that we have, which is part of that 80 to 85% of content that we're recommending. But we also have some humor in COVID-19. And again, given that this can be a touchy subject, we want to make sure that we are making sure that that fine line is respected. So 2 challenges that we offered were, did you survive the great TP crisis of 2020? We had a nice little commemorative mug, and we asked customers to talk about what the toilet paper situation was like in their town. Were they able to get a hold of it? Do they know anyone who is personally stockpiling it in the garage? And we all got to have a little laugh over that. The other challenge that we had that was kind of making COVID-19 a little bit more fun was asking as a survey part if you've given yourself a quarantine haircut. For bonus points, our customers could then upload a photo of their home haircut, and we could all comment on what a fantastic job they did as a non-professional hairdresser doing their own hair. Another example of a fun, engaging challenge that we really enjoyed was User Testing's Community Birthday Bash. You might recognize the Birthday Bash description over here. This was a templated campaign that Influitive has available to the hubs. If you're not currently using Influitive's templated campaigns, I highly, highly recommend it. They're super engaging. They're very customizable. We took some of the challenges that were already part of this campaign and we modified them to make them a little bit more relevant to us. I can't show the entire campaign, but basically walking it through, we took everyone through a virtual preparation for a birthday party, things like gathering the ingredients, baking the cake, inviting your friends. That happened to be actually a recruitment challenge that we were using to ask customers to bring more people to join our community. And then the final challenge was an invitation to our birthday bash. So this was a Zoom town hall featuring our CEO and our CTO, where they gave some really interesting milestones and facts about what user testing was doing, gave our customers a little bit of a heads up into what their ideas were for our product roadmap moving forward. And then they answered questions from customers on whatever topic they wanted. So this accomplished a whole lot of different things. It was engaging in a lot of different ways. With each of the different challenges that we had in this birthday bash. One of them was a social media challenge. One of them was a recruitment challenge. One of them was just listing their favorite flavor of cake. It gave access for our customers to talk to our C-suite and be able to ask questions that they probably wouldn't be able to do in a normal circumstance. It showed that we cared. And as a way to wrap everything up and thank people for attending our birthday party, we also sent little gift cards for Starbucks to our attendees. So it really did tie everything together, both that interaction, ways of actually working with customers to get some of the feedback that we were looking for, but also making this real, making this fun, and making it personal. So finally, what are our key takeaways about bringing in fun content into your customer advocacy program? Fun content builds relationships, humanizes your company, and helps cut through content noise. Right now, especially under COVID-19, customers are relying on their computers more than ever. We're not doing nearly as many face-to-face meetings as we used to. We're doing way more Zoom meetings. We're doing a lot more email, a lot more webinars, a lot more videos, a lot more podcasts. Basically, all we are doing is putting out more and more content, and we need to make sure that the content that we're putting out to customers resonates with customers, especially if our companies are going to be more inclined, for budgetary reasons, to focus the content creation on that top of the funnel, where the "we're so awesome" messaging isn't really going to resonate as much with content with your customers. Aim for 10 to 15% of your content. Again, unless you're BuzzFeed or you are a humor magazine, you're not trying to change your brand. You want to work with your brand. You still want the majority of your content to be engaging and interesting for your customers, and whether that is helping them build skills, helping them network, helping them better understand your product, all of those things are really, really important. We still want to focus on those. But you do want to give an outlet for your customers to be able to engage in a low touch, low pressure way that they're going to find fun and they're going to find memorable. Make it personal, relevant, and connected. It's okay to talk about yourself. It's okay to ask your customers to talk about themselves in ways that they feel comfortable. The more they do this and the more it becomes a habit, both for you and for your customers, the easier it becomes to ask some of those higher touch requests of your customers, like doing a case study for you, or doing a webinar, or leading some kind of thought talk. They'll feel more comfortable to do it if they get to know you and they get to trust you. And part of the way to help build that relationship is with this low touch, fun content that will get them engaged and get them feeling more comfortable around you and the things that your company is doing. Finally, take advantage of Influitive's templated challenges and campaigns. If you are part of many other similarly structured marketing departments, there's going to be more of that focus on that top of the funnel stuff. So you may be on your own in creating this type of content. This makes it easier on you. If you're focusing on something that's personal and more fun, then you don't need to be the expert in your product to be able to create this type of a challenge within your hub. And Influitive has done a really fantastic job at creating some of these templated fun challenges as well. One of my favorites that Influitive did a while ago was, it was a challenge asking people to recast Star Wars with new people in every major role to make it the worst movie ever created. And that was an absolutely hilarious challenge that we got a huge amount of uptakers for with our customers. One of them wanted to replace every single character with Keanu Reeves, and honestly, I think that may have made it the best movie rather than the worst movie. But it was one of the most popular challenges that we issued that month. So definitely take a look at what Influitive is offering, both with their free content and with the additional ones that you can add for your campaigns. You don't need to recreate the wheel if you don't have to. So definitely take advantage of that. And now finally, enlist your colleagues from outside your department to help add to this content. If you are on your own, using the light touch is an easier way to help create more volume of content that's going to be appealing, but you don't necessarily have to be. Get your product team involved. They might have some really fun stories while they were creating the latest iteration of your product that they might want to share. They might want to share some of their bloopers or things that they've learned from research along the way. Try to get some of your fun personal stories from your leadership in your company. They'll be happy probably to share those stories, obviously in a way that makes them look good and not embarrassing them, but another way to get them to relate to customers. And again, the more people outside your department you can get to contribute, the more vested they're going to be in your success. What you don't want to be is an island in creating your content. You want to make this something that everyone can enjoy, everyone feels like they have a personal stake in, so that way the success of your customers becomes your success, becomes your company's success. So thank you so much for your time. Really appreciate it. Happy to answer any questions you have.